Hey everyone, this is Two Drink Minimum, a podcast where we tackle various life topics over 2 beers at minimum. I am your host, Janet, along with
Edwin Garcia.
And right now we're going to start with talking about what we're drinking. So, alright, so this week we have Lagunitas IPA. It's going to pop. Edwin's open. So this is funny because, for those of you guys who are, watching on the YouTube video, Edwin always,
first time, baby!
He can't open up his beers ever. Like, when they're in cans, they always fizz over, to the point where now I end up opening them for him. I didn't think this would be an issue because it was a bottle, but it still got messed up.
Well, once the recording came on and, the video's going on, the pressure of the moment kind of got to me, So
Lagunitas IPA. I feel like this is kind of warm already because we had it sitting there for 10 minutes.
Yeah, which kind of reminds me of this podcast. We had this podcast idea sitting there a few minutes.
Anyway.
All right.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Bad jokes. Begin.
We're going to start by talking about what beer we're drinking. And then since this is episode 0, instead of doing a life topic, we're going to talk about who we are, what the show is, what we're doing it, all that stuff. So the beer, once again, Lagunitas IPA, which is cool. We also have the Lagunitas beer flag in our background. And this is just, to me, a classic just IPA, especially drinking the Chicago area. I believe they're based originally in California, right, Lagunitas?
No, I thought it was here. California and Chicago,
here, yeah.
So it's both.
I'm not sure where they started,
but... quick, this isn't a beer podcast, but beer is definitely... part of the genesis of it. It was hey, just getting a couple drinks and talking to people. And it's getting a couple drinks, talking together, and then sharing with people. So we'll talk a little beer, but we'll try to keep it, as a beginning thing. Anyway, for me, Lagunitas IPA, it's one of the early craft brews that I ever had. The first one was Revolution. Lagunitas was soon after. And I remember someone mentioned Little Something Something as being pretty good. I think that was my first one, and then I had this one shortly after. So Lagunitas has always been, at least for me, one of the early craft brews that got me interested in craft brews. We'll probably talk about beer at a grander extent in an actual episode, but in general, the idea is we're just going to take us a couple sips of our beer, drink our beer, and kind of talk about whatever those ideas are. Before we do that, I think it'd be good for us to discuss who we are and then kind of go from there about what this podcast is. So before we do that, let's introduce ourselves. Besides just our names, what we actually are as people a little bit. So I'll let, Janet, why don't you start it off there?
Cool. Yeah, and the beer is good. And it's an IPA, and I love IPAs. So that's basically it.
Beer is always good. Even when
that's
it's
not
bad.
True, actually. I had a beer that was so bad that I didn't want to drink it. So
was
beer's
it
not
warm?
always good. No, it was the Hypothesis.
Yeah.
That was bad, and I threw it out. But anyway.
But there was other beer, so the idea of beer being good was still true. That was one specific beer that broke the rule.
Yeah.
Just like
pizza. Pizza's always good, except that pizza we had in California.
All pizza in California is bad. Don't
bad.
at me, at Edwin88 Garcia. Don't at me. All your pizzas are bad. I've only had 3, but I've read the internet and I'm convinced. So there you go.
Right, but
hashtag that. As
far as who I am, my name's Jan Garcia, so we are siblings. You're not just being racist and assuming that. Yeah, we're related.
Racist and assuming?
Some people were like, oh, it's Garcia. Oh, you're last name Garcia as well. You must be related. And it's it's a common last name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because a lot of people, if they see us interacting online, they're like, oh, I know it's the same last name, but I didn't assume you were related.
I haven't noticed that. Okay.
Yeah, I've had people say that before. So yeah, we actually are related. I guess a bit about me, for what I do for a living. I'm a freelance video game journalist. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really. We live together, so
How's
that's why he's joking that he doesn't know. It's going all right. It's going good. It's very, very busy. It's a lot of work, and I'm just starting out my career, so it's a lot of work for little pay and a lot of different small gigs instead of just one main thing. So that's been cool and interesting. But I've always done creative stuff. I've always loved writing, and yeah, I would say that's basically me in a nutshell. As far as who I am, I'm a very goal-oriented, driven person. Me and Edwin have a lot in common, but we also have these little differences in our personality that come out here and there. So even though I think people from the outside looking in, and I'm sure you guys on this podcast will it'll seem like maybe we see eye to eye on certain things, or maybe it won't. I'm not really sure how these things will come out once we start talking about them more formally. But yeah, there's just kind of a little bit about that. Other fun factoids, I do distance running. Edwin also does that. She's training for the marathon right now. And yeah, that's basically it. I'm like really into positivity and goal-orientedness and doing what you're passionate about. So any career I've done ever, I've always tried to pick something that like I love and can like really throw myself into, because I'm really about my work. So for that reason, I'm like, well, I want my work to feel fun to some extent and like enriching, because I am just like so into whatever I do that I'm like, well, let me have that be something I want to do, because I can't imagine being like, I'm always that person. So if I don't like the thing, I like wouldn't want to do it because I get too into it. But yeah, that's me. Who are you, Edwin?
Yeah, I'm Edwin Garcia. I guess I would label myself as a jazz musician, but I would just say I'm a musician, period. But yeah, jazz musician, pianist, definitely. Just got my let me put it there. First tattoo here. Got a piano tattoo. Been playing for 8-9 years now, which is actually really short for a professional musician, which is what I am. What else about me? It feels like that's it, because it feels like that's all I do. But there's definitely more. I'm Janet's older brother, so hopefully lots of funny stories I can tell, and embarrassing stories that she'll edit out because I'm not doing the edits right now. So I guess I'll wait until she can't edit them out, and then I'll tell the story. So wait a few episodes, and then I'll start releasing the dirt. And yeah, I'm primarily a musician. I like to think of myself just as a musician in general, even though the labels would be multifaceted. It would be jazz musician, pianist, composer, teacher. I just look at it as all the same thing, because in my own professional stuff, I'll probably do an article about this as well, where I just think it's all the same. It's trying to find good music and bringing it out, whether that's me bringing it out of myself, me bringing it out in others, me bringing it out and presenting it to someone else to perform. It's always to me, it's all the same thing. I'm just trying to make good music or be a part of good music. When I'm an audience member, I'm trying to listen to good music. When I hear music that's bad, I do say it's bad right away, and Janet can confirm that. But when I'm actually studying and actually listening, well, why is it bad? So I don't do it. That's like the next level. I'm saying like I don't like it, and then be like, okay, well, what's bad about this? Oh, the mix is bad. The lyrics are bad. The instrumental is too generic. They didn't do anything. So anyway, I don't want to keep going into that, but that's what I do pretty much my entire day. Day starts around 6 a.m. It usually ends around midnight, 11 p.m.-ish, and it's pretty much all music all the time. Obviously, this podcast will be interesting because it will be not music most of the time. So it'll be cool to kind of talk about the other things, because I do have other passions. For example, if I had to wrap my entire life up into like 3 words, it would be music, sports, games, which is pretty crazy because I sound like a child. It's like, I like songs, I like games, and basketball's cool. But all those 3 things are true, and that's pretty much my whole life right there. Obviously, music's number 1, and then everything else, it varies and ebbs and flows as I've developed. I'm 30, so I just turned 30, hence the, crisis keeping young tattoo here. That's a joke, of course. I was thinking of getting this tattoo for many, many years, and just finally bit the bullet and did it. And yeah, I'm excited to do this podcast. So why don't we get a little more into it, since now we kind of, us a little bit better, and you'll know us more as we keep going. Let's talk about what the heck this show is. What is 2 Drink Minimum? We said it's us drinking 2 beers talking about life, you said, right?
Yeah, like various.
So what does that
topics.
mean? What's various life topics? Like cancer, or how to wake up, or what is it?
Probably more how to wake up than cancer, but probably also neither of those things, at least not from the things we discussed. So this kind of, the idea came about because, you and I were talking all the time, basically. Like, I mean, we always get into these long conversations about various topics in life, as I think a lot of people would do, especially if they're living
together.
with some.
That's another thing. We didn't mention we live together.
Actually, I did mention that we live together.
Oh, okay, well, I wasn't listening.
In case you weren't listening.
In case you, like the host was not listening,
yes.
We do live together.
Yeah, we live together, and like I said, we're siblings, and unsurprisingly, we have like a generally good relationship, and that we're close, or else why would I agree to this podcast?
I was kind of saying that when we were setting up. I don't know why you agreed to it.
I don't know why either. I was very annoyed during the process. / Edwin was, I do YouTube on my own for like my career and stuff. And Edwin seeing like the process of setting up for a video was an eye-opening experience. But anyway, getting off track. So we have like these long conversations all the time about just different life stuff or advice things. Like we'll talk about this more when we do maybe like our New Year's resolution episode. But we are now doing these meetings. Me, Edwin, and his girlfriend Maggie. We do these meetings every month where we talk about our goals and things. And just stemming from that, sometimes other conversations come up like fitness, health stuff. We've talked about like relationships. We've talked about like college and careers and like why certain people do the things they do and why they think the way they think and why that's good or bad or whatever. And a lot of times these topics will come up just from either our own personal experiences, like maybe I'm looking for advice or I'm trying to figure something out. I talk to Edwin and kind of we like bounce ideas off each other until I can kind of come to maybe a conclusion or an idea about something. Or honestly, it could be stuff I observe, like things I hear from other people that I agree with or disagree with. Things I see other people in my life doing, whether they're close to me or just like someone that I have like in my social media circles that like bring up a certain topic or an idea or like a larger thing. And generally I feel like the thing I like about our conversations is I feel like I just kind of get a lot out of it, and it makes me like any good conversation will, it'll make me like think about things in a different way. And even if it doesn't change my mind on something, it helps me form my opinion. Like I studied English in college, and I'm a big believer in like language shaping our thoughts and helping us like in that like communication is the key to understanding your own viewpoints, but also like, you know, spreading more messages and helping other people like come to conclusions and things and grow ultimately, you know, reading, writing, YouTube, TV, everything. I think all of that stuff helps. So for me at least, like one thing that I was like looking forward to in tackling like these topics and kind of bringing them into podcast format is one, because we're already having them, so like let's just do it as a podcast. And then two, because like I feel like I get a lot of those conversations. I love listening to podcasts that have conversations like that because it makes me think, and then I bring that conversation to Edwin or my friends or whoever. Right. So I'm like, oh, it'd be cool if we could do that, because I feel like so many times our conversations already get so long, and me and Edwin are both really busy because we both are to some extent freelancers or like have that like entrepreneurial undertone or whatever. So it's like, you know, I love having those conversations with him, but sometimes I'm just too busy to have them. So this kind of feels like a way to like have those conversations, but also have them for the potential benefit of other people, and to start conversations about it without just like, I don't know, also like shouting ideas at people. I feel like this is like a way to like, we can put the idea out there and if people want to engage with it and like how we produce content and stuff, they can. And, you know, it makes it a little less aggressive too to like give advice or share things when you're not just like, you kind of just put it out there and letting them consume it.
When we, this started, it kind of became, our conversations honestly were just, they were so good that I was like, one of us said like, you know, it should be a podcast, and then it kind of was like, yeah, maybe, or like whatever. And then we thought about other times we've tried to do things, like we tried to do a hip hop podcast, blog.
It still exists. It's called E&J Hip Hop.
Don't even look. It's not that it's bad. It's just that it's so disappointing that
Edwin was really upset about it. I don't feel that bad.
I'm not upset, like cry upset, but just kind of like, yeah. I mean, it's fine because I'm glad we tried it. I'm just disappointed that it ended so weakly. It was so soft. I mean, we're talking about like, I could probably count all the posts on one hand. That's a joke for a project.
I don't think that's true.
Well, maybe I'll use some toes or something, but I don't need both hands for sure.
That'll give you my hands.
Yeah, no, definitely don't need both hands. So yeah, it was just disappointing. Anyway, so
notice how Edwin starts talking about our current project by referencing the failure of our previous project.
Yeah, well, it was. It was that, but like I said, I'm not trying to hide it because you shouldn't hide your missteps. You should embrace them. And even though I don't, it's not that I'm not embracing. It's just that I'm like, it was disappointing. So anyway, hopefully this one isn't disappointing.
I feel like it's such a negative place to start from.
Yeah, well, anyway, let's go back a little bit. So we talked about let's do a podcast. Our conversations were so good. I'm like, yeah, this should be a podcast. People need this. And so I think it's funny because before we talked about it, Jenna said that she thinks this is kind of a selfish thing for her. Where she's like, I'm just kind of doing it and whatever. And I kind of look at it as, I disagreed a little and I pushed back, but we won't get into all that. But I'm like, for me, it definitely is it's like a selfless thing. It's more of a contribution because I am doing it for other people. It ain't really for me. I'm sure I'm going to have fun with it and I'm looking forward to it. But it's really about other people need this. I don't need this. They're my thoughts. Like, I know what I think. And yeah, obviously you always kind of unpack even more of yourself, but I could just do that in my head, like, while I walk outside for 10 minutes. The reason I want to talk about, let's say, some of the topics we're going to talk about, holidays and what that means for people, or what relationships are like now, or what we expect from like long-term relationships, whether that's family or boyfriend, girlfriend, girlfriend, boyfriend, all that kind of stuff. Like relationships that you choose to have that are intimate. Whether it's the importance of having a healthy diet, or what our diets are like. The reason I want to have these conversations out loud and in front of people and post it to the public is because I think people need it, and I think it's going to do a good service to people. will it be 10,000 people, 1,000 people, or 10 people? I don't know. But I know someone will get something good out of it because I know they're good thoughts. Or at least, at the very least, someone could be like, fight back against it and realize they're wrong or realize we're wrong. Whatever. Someone's going to gain out of it. Hopefully it's everyone. But I'm not looking at it for me. If I was looking at it for me, I would just write an idea on a board and I would just riff on it with myself and really learn a lot more and not have to worry about being on camera, not stuttering, sharing it, telling people. I could be like, oh, I'm still getting, the work done, and it's really good for me because I'm just putting up, the word, nostalgia and riffing off it, or like, video games and riffing off of it from my life from the get-go. I'm not doing that because, well, one, it's a little silly, and two, I do want to do it for other people, and I want other people to kind of be a part of it. So definitely, whoever's listening to this, if you're not, Edwin or Janet, then this is for you. So there you go.
Cool. It's very grandiose. One thing I want to add to that, though I still think it's funny and like, even though you're generally a pretty positive person, as am I think it's so negative to start with like, well, we had this blog and it failed or whatever. But I think that the reason I think you brought that up, besides the fact that, I don't know, you felt like sharing it or something, for me, that reminds me of another reason we're doing this is because, even though there's a little bit of like bickering or annoyance.
Actually, a lot of what I do is about past failures. One of the reasons why I think we're doing this, just to cut you off real quick, is because we don't have a project. If we
no,
still
that's
have
what
blog,
that's what I was gonna say though. That's what I was gonna say. That's
see?
the crazy part. But it wasn't, to me, I don't see that as it's funny that I agree, but I don't frame it that way. So for me,
I agree, but you're wrong.
Well, the thing is, like, what I was gonna bring up before you like jumped in was one reason we're doing this is because we don't have a project together, and we've always kind of wanted one. Not always, but like. Like I said, what I was saying before was like, even though we, there's a little bit of bickering sometimes, generally I like you.
Right now it's probably one of those.
I don't know. Well, now we're agreeing about disagreeing.
Disagreeing about disagreeing?
Exactly. But like, generally I like working with you, and I think we have a lot in common, even though we do very different things for our careers and things.
Well, we're freelancers, and freelancers have a, like you said, that entrepreneur. Our days are similar, even if
now they're similar. I used to teach.
Well, you weren't a freelancer, so that's why I said it.
But even so, I just feel like we do have things in common in interests and in personalities, and it always felt like it made sense for us to collaborate on something, and we did try to do that with writing, but that didn't work out just because, honestly, I didn't have the time to do it. So even though we both equally failed at it, I was the one that said I didn't want to do it.
You said team,
I was like, I don't want to. Well, I was like, we're not doing this, clearly. We have not done this, and I don't want to do it. I'm calling it off because it's not happening.
Right.
But that was fun, and this seems like, one thing I like about this is that it seems a little bit more sustainable because of the format that it is. Because for me, writing, well, actually, I can write a lot faster now, honestly, but like, writing's just different for me. I feel like this medium lends stuff a little bit better. But yeah, so this is kind of our way to
yeah, so everything comes, for me at least, if you really break it down, everything comes from failures. Like, I'm doing this because we don't have that. I went back to school because life wasn't going the way it needed to go. I'm training for a marathon because I always said I was going to do it and I never did it. So, I think I don't think it's a negative. It's just a fact. It's like, if I already ran a marathon, I'm not sure, because I don't know. I can't tell you after I run this marathon in October that I will run again. I think I will now. Before I started the training, I thought, once I'm doing this, I'm done. I got other stuff I want to do, which is still true physically. Like other sports I want to kind of like dive into again, or for the first time and stuff. So I thought, once I do this, I don't need to run anymore. It's all good. I got out of my system. But now that I'm actually in it, I'm actually like, you know what? I think I'm not done. I don't know if I'll do another marathon, but I don't think I'm done either. So things, yeah. So I think I don't think it's a negative, but I do kind of frame it as like it's unfinished business, or like run it back kind of. People who play basketball know running it back means you guys just lost the game, and it's like, well, do you want a rematch, which is run it back, like just roll the ball out, let's do it again, or do you want to like change players? And run it back means no, like I know we lost, but I think with this team we can actually win. Just let's do it again, run it back, another 21, we got this. We just need to try it again. So I do that with a lot of things, and I think this podcast is kind of that. We're more mature now, just by age and stuff, and Janet's gotten so good at video and all that.
Thanks.
There may be a star in the show. I don't know. You guys will decide about the rankings there. I'll just do my work and see what you guys say. But it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be good, and I'm really excited about tackling the topics, and I'm really pumped for this one. I've been excited kind of all day. I've had a lot of energy. I always have a lot of energy, but today I've had a lot of energy for this. So when can people expect this podcast? What is it going to be? Weekly? Is it daily?
That's a great question, Edwin. No, hourly would be insane.
I think we
cool
should do
idea.
a 24-hour like charity
I think
podcast.
we should do it, but in the style of
10-minute snippets every top of the hour by the hour.
But in the style of Dale from King of the Hill when he had the 24-hour, 24/7 radio show, but it was just him. That's my favorite episode.
I forgot how long he lasted. He lasted a few days.
He lasted a while. As a content creator, I appreciated
And then
his
he cashed
hustle.
out to like a Mexican radio station. So
Yeah.
he did the ultimate freelance dream. Work until you die and then cash out and let Big Brother take you. And I'm not sure if he actually got cashed out. They bought him out or what happened.
They bought him out.
Yeah. Well, still, he
So
came
he
out,
sold. He made
he came
something.
out with the check is all I know.
He had something. But this podcast is going to be every other week, aka twice a month. Yeah, so that's going to be the frequency of the podcast. Podcast length, an hour or under, ideally. I'm sure there'll be times when we go a little bit over, but
sure.
that's kind of what we're shooting for. And
So we kind of already talked about our why. We discussed that. So I think the only thing left is why you should care. You should care because we're going to talk about things that pretty much every single person will be able to relate to. I'm sure there'll be specific things.
the human condition.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be certain things like, well, I never played basketball. And even then, you should probably check it out because it probably will relate to you. And we won't do, I don't think we're going to do, the basketball one's not on the docket, but it could be. But I'm just saying, if you see a topic and you're like, I never, I don't know if it's, I don't know, living with, a loved one, you're like, well, I don't do that. I think you should still listen to it because there'll probably be stuff for you. But in general, generically speaking, everything is made so everyone, or as many people as possible, can relate to it. So we'll be doing things about, school and higher education, which again, not everyone, but a lot of people will. We'll be doing ones about holidays. Everyone has some type of holiday. I don't know. There might be some person who's really strict on, it is not Halloween for me, but it probably still affects you.
Or it's not my birthday.
It probably still affects you. So, we'll talk about that and how we feel about that. So we're always going to pick some money, finances. We could have a video game one if we'll try to make it not just like, oh, what game are you playing? It'll be like, well, what do video games mean for your life? Or like, recreational activities, hobbies. So it'll always be a topic that we can riff on and that anyone else can be like, oh yeah, I've never thought of actually really giving a thought to, self-care or giving a thought to exercising since high school or college or whatever. And then I think that'll be a good episode. So the reason you should care is because it's part of your life, whether you decide to fully be involved in it or you decide that it's not something you really engage with. It'll still be something of relevance to you and importance to you. And hopefully by listening to the podcast and commenting on Twitter and on Facebook and Instagram, you will be even more connected and hopefully it can revive something in you or even just make you realize certain things. Or even if you think we're wrong and we're having a dialogue there where you're like, no, this was way off. We're like, okay, cool. There have been many times in my life, maybe that'd be a good podcast where I thought one way and like a few years later, it's completely different. And I was so sure I was right. Just some examples off the top of my head, I thought, I never thought I would be a Laker fan. And it's kind of nasty to say it, even saying it out loud. But I am. And I think I'm to the point where there's no turning back. And that would have been an absolutely asinine thing to say 2 years ago. It would be like, what? And now it's like pretty much, at this point, it is what it is. Or there'll be things like, I never thought, I used to think, self-care was, stupid or like, what the heck does that mean? It just means you're being a baby and like mental health issues were kind of, the only person who could really have those would be someone who's literally sick, like a crazy screaming person in the street, not like an average person. It was just you just like, being soft or whatever. Used to have a lot of messed up ideas and some of them, I kept for a long time and some of them slowly changed and like.
Or you barely started drinking water?
Yeah, I barely started drinking water. So I'm the only human to not drink water and live to tell about it. Yeah. So just different things like that.
Has water in it,
I encourage everyone to go ahead if you disagree with us, and I'm sure some people will. Go ahead and talk to us. We're not going to be doing it in a trolling way. Where I'm
Do you feel like you shouldn't drink water? Like, let us know in the comments.
If it's something, if it's a topic that maybe is controversial or whatever, it's all good as long as we don't, I don't want anyone being hateful, including ourselves to anyone. So anyone who wants, at least for me, if anyone wants to be a troll, if Jenna has the patience for it, that's fine. But I'm not gonna have the patience for it. I don't have the time for that. But if it's just like an authentic, I think you're wrong or I disagree because of this, totally cool. We can definitely talk about it, and it's good because maybe I'll learn something, or maybe I can turn you to my thinking, and you'll learn something. So that's why you should care. They're gonna be topics that everyone can relate to some capacity. And hopefully it creates interesting dialogue, and we can have this podcast go 100 episodes, 200 episodes, 300 episodes, do a tour at different bars. Like
Yeah, that is
I
a
got
secret
dreams,
dream I
man.
have.
I got dreams.
Well,
and
it's
I
not
think
really a
that'd be
secret because I
great.
just said it.
I think we can do like a meetup in Miami and just have like 200 people come by, and we could just, we could do a panel at South by Southwest about getting your podcast started, and we'll talk about this exact podcast. And this podcast will be clipped and shown at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas, or wherever they held it when we have it, and they could see, wow.
This, of course, is after Edwin learns how to edit, because I'm not going to be editing all these. But
Oh, we go to South by Southwest. You're telling me you wouldn't edit for South by Southwest?
I don't know, man.
Yeah, so anyway, so hopefully this goes, again, and speaking of the longevity, we fully intend on this lasting as long as we can. What does that mean? It means I'm thinking, yeah, crack my shoulder there. I'm not sure if the mic will hear that.
That's horrifying.
Yeah, we'll talk about physical stuff later. I mean, that means like years, honestly.
Also, typically we'll be drinking our drinks during this podcast. Look how this is so full.
Yeah, so hopefully, so years. So we're not going to be a podcast, and you can hold me to this, that, 2 episodes, then there's a gap. Then there's a third and fourth one. Then there's a big gap. Then they have a big, no, we want to do it consistently. We want to do it constantly and for a long time, years and years.
Yeah.
So you know that we're going to be here. And
Forever. No, and I think that's one reason, though, we're doing the 2 times a month, because, weekly's always a little steep for anyone that has ever tried to make anything like this. So 2 times a month is nice because, you have, like, that extra buffer, and, we've both done plenty of projects that have required time commitments, so I'm not really concerned about that in any way, shape, or form. But, yeah, I think it'll be really cool. We can just, talk about general life stuff. You guys can hit us up with ideas that you guys have. Maybe inspire some new topics for us to take on, things we haven't considered.
And the other great thing is that since they're topics that are not timely,
it's evergreen content.
It's evergreen content, exactly. You and I can definitely be like, hey, the next couple weeks are crazy. Let's record 4 episodes.
Yeah.
We'll work on the edits in the meantime. And we don't have to worry about, we can't talk about
the Super Bowl.
What's going on in the NBA 3 months from now because we're not going to know the situation.
Right, and we'll try to tentpole some content. Like, I know there's like New Year's stuff we're gonna want to do around the New Year.
You can't do that in March.
Yeah, that'd be weird. But generally speaking, it shouldn't be so challenging to have it happen that that it won't be able to be done. Because we've had experience doing this before, so it should be pretty much good.
So tell the people where they can follow us, where they can like us, where they can share pictures with us.
So everything's gonna be underneath the handle that's across Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. E and J 2 Drink Min. So that's E, the letter N, J, 2 as in the number 2, Drink Min. E and J 2 Drink Min. And we'll put a little overlay on the
also tell them the J is also just a J, not J-A-Y.
Yeah, the J is just a J. So those are just
letter
letters. The letter E,
letter N, letter J, Drink Min.
Yeah, and that's our handle across the board.
We could also maybe on YouTube. I don't know. I'm not the one doing the edits. You could just put it up once, and then it should be.
Yeah, we're gonna have it. Ideally a screen overlay.
So if you're on YouTube, it should be somewhere here. I've seen Is this how you YouTube? Right here? Here?
No, because I have to do it manually in Adobe Premiere.
Here?
It's wherever I place it in Adobe Premiere. I could place it in all those places if I wanted to.
There, everywhere. So you just don't care. All right. Cool.
But yeah, so that's where you guys can find us. We're right now working on what podcast services we'll be able to be on. Ideally, it's going to be like iTunes. And
iTunes is the only one I personally care about. I know
Spotify.
Other people are on other ones, but we'll definitely try to do as much as we can, and I'll also do some research. Maybe contact some people who.
That's basically it. We do have a YouTube channel as well, but it doesn't have the custom URL yet, so there's not really.
Well, you know what they need to do. What do they need to do to get a custom
URL? You need to
Janet?
subscribe to our channel. So.
And how many do we need to get that custom URL?
100.
100. So we need 100 subscribers, ladies and gentlemen. Get us that custom URL. Help us achieve our dreams and help you achieve your dreams. This is what we're doing. We are starting this not in January. We're not starting it when the summer's over because we want to hang out and it's too much. No, we are jumping at it, grinding it out, and we need your help. If you want to support us, if you want to love us, hit the subscribe. I don't care about the bell. Maybe you don't want to get the notifications. Maybe you don't. If you want to, go for it. But I definitely want to subscribe so we can get the custom URL so more people can see us. And that glorious algorithm will worship us with more views so we can get more inspired, so we can get more encouragement, so we can help more people with their lives. And we can just make this the best project we've ever done in our lives.
Can you tell who has and hasn't done YouTube and podcasting before? Based on excitement level, hype level. But yeah.
I'm always more hyped than you. It doesn't matter what we do. When are you more hyped than me?
I don't know. I think I'm Probably never, I guess.
Right. I'm just more and more hyped up. Now, that might be... I agree with the inexperience, but I'm always hyped up. Like, I'm hyped up, and you're always telling me to shut up.
Okay,
and I keep on going. I'm so hyped that even someone telling me, hey, I'm the only person you're talking to, shut up. And I'm like, no, I will not shut up. This engine is going. The train does not stop. It is running express, baby.
Okay, anyway, so... what that was supposed to be was a tidy cleanup. So once again, like, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Check us out on podcast, listening services if you prefer to listen on there. And make sure to follow us along social media platforms. Once again, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook is all at ENJ2DrinkMen. And we will get you guys next time for episode 1.